Welcome to the ReaLife Hoops podcast, episode 0. I'm Danny Cooper, here with my guy Sam Oshtry. How we doing today, Sam?
I'm doing great, Danny. It's been a long time coming. We finally recording the pilot, episode 0, just a little mini episode before we get into guests, segments, all that stuff on episode 1. Ready to go?
Yes, sir. So, a little background. I've known Sam since probably 2012. Us Jews play a thing called Maccabi basketball where it's just...
Dominated Maccabi basketball.
What'd you say?
We dominated Maccabi basketball.
We dominated. We did lose in the championship, but that's where I met Sam back in the day in middle school. Stayed in touch over the years, and I was looking to start a podcast, and Sam hit me up and said, let's collab. So here we are today with the ReaLife Hoops podcast.
It was also so we've known each other for years through Maccabi.
Yeah.
And then we kind of like stayed connected. And last year in Vegas, we were out in the summer league in Vegas together. That's stories for another day.
Yeah, that's definitely stories for another day.
But we were out in Vegas, and you were talking about how you want to start a podcast. I wanted to do something with basketball podcasts.
Yeah.
And so a year later, here we are.
Yeah, for sure. So you want to just, I guess I'll tell the audience a little about myself if they don't know me. Danny Cooper, I am a basketball trainer. I started a business called Danny Cooper Basketball probably when I was 16, so like 6 years ago, but really officially got it running 2 years ago with my logo and everything. Also a college basketball player at Moravian University, and do a lot of content, a lot of social media. Excited to get this started. And Sam, why don't you tell us kind of what you're doing?
So I'm going to be a senior at the University of Maryland, and I'm more in the media space. So that's why it's a good collaboration, because Danny has that training experience, that he has playing experience. Obviously, he's a collegiate basketball player, and I work more in the media side of basketball and sports media, and cover Maryland basketball, Maryland athletics, and all that stuff, and do like from the media side. So that's why it's good collaboration. Our guests are going to be some players, some media people, some trainers. So we offer different perspectives on basketball. And so this really is going to be whatever's going on in the basketball world, in the hoop world. That's what we're going to talk about, and then also other topics too. Yeah,
so I think I kind of want to talk a little bit about the name ReaLife Hoops. So obviously we both love hoops, but I got the name ReaLife kind of because I'm big on mental health, big on real life stuff. So we don't just want to talk about basketball. We want also hold that shit closer. This is fun. No, I mean hold it closer to your mouth. But no, I mean I'm big on real life stuff. Obviously we're gonna talk hoops. We're gonna talk the NBA Finals. We're gonna talk college ball. Skills of the game. But
I didn't mean to laugh when you said
you're good. You're good. But no. But I really want to talk about like real life issues, real life stuff that everyday people are going through and stuff like that that I'm passionate about. So
and it's gonna be like business too. You're like huge in the NFT space. You're tanking right now. You probably don't want to talk about that right now.
Yeah. But we're long term diamond handing that. But
eventually we'll talk about business, the NFT stuff, whatever's going on in that world, and whatever, honestly, the business world, anything that's even related to hoops slightly, or what's going on in our lives, we want to talk about, what's going on in the world, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So.
All right, so now let's get into some finals talk.
Yeah.
So the NBA Finals obviously were last night, an electric Game 5, probably the best game of the finals in my opinion.
Yeah.
But what were your takeaways, real quick?
Yeah, I mean, it was, as a trainer, usually like to watch the game back because it's so fast, but like, just from my initial takeaways, like, with Steph going, what was he, 0 for 7 from 3?
0 for 9.
0 for 9 from 3?
First game in 133 playoff games, he hasn't hit a 3.
I think it was 233 total games.
That was
something like that.
Yeah.
Something crazy. But with Steph going 0 for 9 and you still, rallying together and winning that game, it just shows how great of a team they really are. Like, Wiggins, draft day A Wiggins, but no, Wiggins has just been unbelievable.
Yeah, he has been. And the crazy thing about it is, obviously, Wiggins was phenomenal last night. He's been phenomenal all series and all playoffs. But, like, people forget he was an all-star this year. Like, this has been a thing.
All-star starter.
All-star starter, yeah. Which is, who votes on that? The fans, the players, and the media. So, I mean, when the fans have 50% of the vote, sometimes it's a little skewed, but shit.
What was that? See, this is what happens on your first attempt on a podcast. Shit falls, stuff happens, but...
All right, we're good.
It's cool. Anyway, this is gonna be in it right here. Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway, what I was saying is, he's been doing this all season, and going back to last season when they didn't even make the playoffs, but they were in that playing game.
Right.
Wiggins has been phenomenal, but the real thing about him is, like, people were calling him a bust in Minnesota because he was the number 1 overall pick, and now the question is, like, if you're not the number 1 overall pick, if you're the number 1 overall pick and you're not necessarily a franchise player, like, are you considered a bust still? Like,
yeah, well, I actually think I heard them talk about this on ESPN. Maybe it was Stephen A. or Big Perk or whatever, but it was the topic about having patience with like first overall picks and even top 5 guys, because I feel like nowadays we're so like now, and if a guy is not like a perennial all-star in his first year, we call him a bust, and we're so quick to that. So I think Wiggins is a great example of giving someone time to develop. Even a guy like Brandon Ingram, I think, took a couple more years to really develop.
And good. It's interesting you brought up Brandon Ingram, because what I was going to say is like it's all about the organizational structure too. Like some places you're just not going to be a fit. Like Minnesota is not some stable organization. They had 4 coaches and Wiggins 6.
Well, Wiggins is also not a number 1 option, so that's
but that's true too. But like people were questioning his work ethic, questioning maybe that was valid.
Right.
But the point is that like if you go to a situation where you're not, he's not like a superstar player. So if you go to a situation where where you can't be the guy immediately, like you need organizational stability and good development staff and all that stuff and teammates around you. And he didn't have that, so people obviously are going to write him off. Now he's in Golden State, a very different situation, obviously one of the best organizations in basketball, and he's flourishing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the other things I love as a player development guy is like you look at the top organizations like Golden State, San Antonio, Boston, and you just see like the difference between them and most of the other teams is that they're all homegrown. Yeah. Like think about Tatum, Brown, Smart, all homegrown, Curry, Draymond, Clay, all homegrown. The Spurs, all foreign guys, all homegrown. So I think player development is honestly one of the least talked about things and maybe the most important.
And that's great for this finals too, because that's so rare. Like all these last few finals, even when the Warriors were in it for years with Kevin Durant, like those were teams that were essentially super teams and happened through free agency. Like you're right. Though that core of the Warriors, Draymond, Steph, and Clay, all drafted. Like even going back to Wiggins, like how they got Wiggins is a crazy story. Like I was reading about it the other day.
They traded D'Lo, right?
Yeah, but they traded they got D'Lo through the sign and trade through Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant didn't even necessarily have to, I forget exactly what it was, but he didn't necessarily have to stay or have to facilitate a sign and trade. But when he decided to go to Brooklyn, it made sense. So Warriors get D'Lo. They shipped D'Lo out for Wiggins, and they had to trade Andre Iguodala, who was such an important part of those 2015
I want Iguodala.
teams.
Shout out Max Kellerman. I love that. But
yeah, you tweeted that the other day.
Yeah, I did. No, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how that stuff works out. I mean, maybe I'd want to be in the front office one day, but I think it's super important to have that core group of homegrown guys because then you really attract a free agent. Like Golden State had that. KD wanted to go. Like I feel like Miami kind of had that core of Hero, Duncan, Bam, and then Jimmy wanted to go. So I think that's really important. And hopefully the Sixers, I mean, they have a little bit of it with Maxey and Embiid. Hopefully they can kind of pick it up. I guess we can what's the word, relay or?
Well, no idea what you're trying to say.
I'm saying we can relay into a little Sixers talk right now. But
no, that's why I love these finals, and honestly has been one of the most like competitive, best finals that I feel even last year was great. That it feels like we've had in a while. And it is because of that homegrown. Like you talk about the Celtics, all those guys, Tatum, Brown, Smart, are all homegrown. But let's talk about the Celtics for a second. Like Jason Tatum, I mean, how do you evaluate his performance last night? I know you're a big Jason Tatum guy, big Drew Hanlon guy. Drew Hanlon got some TV time yesterday.
Yeah, he did. Shout out Drew.
In that game. But like, how do you evaluate that performance where it's like he's still a superstar? I don't think won finals, and it hasn't been close to his best series. I don't think won finals as a young player, poor finals, I guess I should say, negates that superstar status. But like, he went 0 for 2 from the free throw line twice yesterday. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, here's the way I kind of view it as a player development guy. So I'm notorious for not being a big – this is going to be funny, but because I say this to my friends all the time.
I'm already laughing.
I'm notorious for, like, hating fans. What I mean by that is, like, I feel like fans just lack so much context, right?
Okay.
So, like, say you're at
you probably hate the media, too.
Not necessarily, and hate's a strong word, but I feel like
I know.
I feel like judging a player without having context, and I know that's what it is. You're critiquing athletes and their game, but there's just so much more to it. Like he could be injured, he could be all that stuff. So that's why it's hard for me to evaluate it the way that media and fans do.
To your point about that, he played 44 out of 48 minutes last night. For sure. He didn't sit the entire third quarter, and like he didn't sit in the entire second half till the very end of the game. I just think one thing that I have from being a college basketball player is like. And this is the media and fans' job to do, but I don't like to do it as a kind of being on the inside. You never know what's actually going on the inside. So, of course, you want him to play better. And also, I'd credit Andrew Wiggins' defense. I mean, obviously, Tatum as a superstar has to produce, but I think Wiggins is just doing an amazing job locking him up. I mean, everyone has off nights. You see Curry 0 for 9. I mean. But that might have been Tatum's one of his best games yesterday in the finals. Like, this wasn't an off night. Like he's struggled in the series, and he still is. He's become a much better passer. He's a much better playmaker. Yeah. But he still struggles. he struggled in this series
Right.
more than like he really shouldn't. Like I said, one bad finals doesn't mean he's not a superstar, not a franchise guy. But like he really he hasn't proven where he's like, if you're the number one option, you can win a championship with it.
Right, and I think that comes down to he's 24 years old, and with experience, he'll get that. But I think him and Brown, if they stay together, could really.
No, I agree. And like the
be
Celtics
great.
team, the series is far from over.
I mean, I told my friends who are Sixers fans, I don't think we're ever going to win a championship in the next 10 years. Honestly, with this Celtics core and Giannis, it's going to be tough. So.
I mean,
yeah.
Sixers are whole. Do you want to talk about the Sixers? They're a whole other story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm again. It's hard for me because I don't take the fan or media perspective. I guess this is
That's
cool.
Why
actually.
I'm here. I'm the media perspective.
But I mean, I'm not. I don't love the guys who the Sixers have drafted in recent years. I think you look at any of the successful teams. They have a couple factors. Obviously, talent number one, and the Sixers have a lot of talent, but. I think you have to have the intangibles. You have to have dogs. So you got Draymond Green. You have Marcus Smart, right?
Yep.
Sixers had nobody like that. You have to have guys who live in the gym, who want to be there. Sixers maybe only have a couple guys like that. Like, you really have to draft players way more than just their talent. Because, not to name names, because who knows who I'll end up training one day, but the Sixers in the last couple years have drafted some guys who frankly were very nonchalant and didn't seem like they loved the game of basketball. And when you look at these teams who are actually winning, they have guys who you don't pay them a dime. Say they would probably play for free.
Yeah.
And Durant said all the time he'd play for free. Like, you need guys who love the game just for the game.
But I will say their pick that they got out of the ballpark was Tyrese Maxey, and he's a guy that was a late first rounder.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that apparently lives in the gym. The second the season ended, Doc was saying he called him that night, like, when can I get in the next day? He's like, you need to take some time off after the season.
We need 5 more of those. But
but I'm saying, like, the Sixers' problems right now are not going to be solved through the draft. Like, it's a Harden thing.
We need Bo Cruz. Whoever saw Hustle.
Great movie. Wait, did you see that?
I saw it. Yeah.
I didn't. Like, what were your impressions?
It was a great movie. I think.
Besides that?
I mean, it reminded me of Rocky a little bit. Obviously, because we're from Philly. Like, it
that's why it was so cool. It was like you noticed all those parks in Philly. You noticed like Maniac, like 5 minutes from me. They were running on the bridge. But it was also cool. Was like every person who was in the basketball world was in the movie. Like Jay Wright, Drew Hanlon, like Street Ballers. No,
it was cool.
Professor.
It was cool. CJ Aiken from PW was in there actually.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great movie. I also love Adam Sandler.
Yeah, so why don't we get into kind of our plans for the next couple months?
So
you want to start?
Yeah,
you got some exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah, so first this is gonna be like a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hopefully drop them every single week throughout the summer, and then obviously there's gonna be the draft coming up, free agency, summer league stuff, and then obviously it's a dry time for hoops, but then college basketball is gonna come up. So we're just going to talk about whatever's going on in basketball. We're going to have guests, like we talked about, guests in the media world, guests in the training world, college players, maybe some professional players.
Yes, sir.
So we're just going to have a bunch of guests. We're going to do segments. We don't need to spill the segments right now.
Yeah, we got like I think 3 really solid segments that we'll have at the end of every episode. So it'd be really cool to kind of see that recurring theme happen.
The show usually breaking up, like we'll open it, talk about what's going on in our lives, talk about what's going on in basketball world, and then we'll do our segments, and we'll have a guest, and we'll wrap it up, and that'll be like the flow of the show that'll drop once a week.
Yeah, so this is just episode 0. But Sam, why don't you tell them kind of what you're getting into this summer? You got some exciting stuff, right?
Yeah, I do. So July. So we're not going to be recording live in July because I'm going to be in Israel for the Maccabi games. I'm covering them as a member of a media team. So that's 3 weeks in July. The Maccabi games are from July
July 3rd to the 26th, actually.
That's when I'm going to be out there. Yeah.
I didn't make the team, but he made the media team. So I tried out, though.
I forgot you did try. That open team's really good. It's actually coached by Doug Gottlieb, who's like a Fox Sports guy.
Okay.
But he also coaches AAU. But yeah, so I'll be out in Israel covering basketball, but every single sport out there for the Team USA delegation. So that'll be 3 weeks. That'll be my journey. I'll be releasing all my content on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. And then we'll come back and we'll record these episodes again. Yeah, this is a good time, I guess, to continue on to that. So what's your like dream or goal, I guess, with this kind of path, this media path? Do you have a specific career, or you're just kind of going with the flow? Yeah, so first off, I want to cover basketball because I love basketball. I played basketball in high school, which is, I guess, I wasn't much of a player, but we did
Where'd
play
you go?
a few times. Lower Merion High School.
Shout out Kobe, rest in peace.
Shout out Kobe. He was a huge inspiration for me. I had the opportunity to meet a couple times, and you know, I love basketball, so I want to be in the media world covering basketball. But I've always loved to write, so I'm a writer first. But I also want to be in TV roles, podcasting roles, radio roles, just really covering the NBA, covering college basketball, covering sports in general, working on the media roles, being one of the guys you see on ESPN, one of the guys you read on ESPN. So I mean, that's the pinnacle, of course, where you want to go. But there's a lot of steps that have to be achieved before then. And right now, I'm doing that as the managing editor of Test Studio Times at Maryland.
Are we gonna see some Oshtry bombs in the future?
You might. Osh bombs, I guess we call them.
Can you imagine Osh bombs? Like Woj bombs.
Well, you're gonna be my scoop guy. Every time you're training all these M players, I'm texting you every single day.
Yeah.
For what's going on with this guy? Who got injured? Where is he going to free agency? You're gonna be my guy.
Yeah, that's dope though. That's dope.
Yeah. So wait, there actually was something I wanted to bring up with you. Did you see that Anthony Davis thing?
I did.
So for anyone who didn't see, Anthony Davis the other day was like, I haven't picked up a bat or shot a basketball since April 5th.
Yeah.
So we're over 2 months
right.
since he shot a basketball. He got a lot of. Are we cursing on this podcast?
We can curse. Yeah.
All right, he got a lot of shit for that.
Unfiltered, authentic, baby.
Exactly. So he got a lot of shit for that, and it's like some people were defending him. Like JJ Redick was defending him. Like, you're not supposed to play basketball for a little bit after the season ends.
Yeah, I could speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm asking you about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we're over 2 months. Like 2 months since he's picked up basketball, and he shot 18% from 3 last year. So it's different. Like, as a college player, who also trains other college players, but also is around NBA players, you've been around those guys.
Yeah.
What's like the appropriate amount of time where you're supposed to take off after the season?
Yeah, I mean, first I'll say this is going to be a fascinating podcast because as a player and a trainer.
Yeah,
I love it. So. First, it's hard for me to ever like criticize guys, right? Because again, I don't know what's been going on.
I'm just gonna look like a villain because I'm gonna be
but
criticizing everyone. And you're gonna come to the defense.
But that's what I like. So no, I'm not coming to his defense. So basically, everyone's different, right? Like everyone needs to get their mental break away from the game. So like for me, I used to be that 7 days a week, 2 to 3 times a day, like Mamba mentality, and it was great for me. But number one, it led to a lot of overthinking. So a lot of those kind of workhorse guys, it actually can be detrimental in some regard because you can overthink stuff and just get in your head too much, and then also it can lead to injuries. So I broke my foot 1.5 years ago because I just was going crazy and trying to get ready for my first college basketball season. Overdid it. So now I kind of have a little different approach. After my season this year, I probably took like a month off, just to kind of just clear my head.
And that's kind of a lot because like.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was probably shooting once or twice a week, but it wasn't like a full month off.
You were lifting still, right? Not like completely off.
I mean, here and there, but after the season, like your body's just dead. You're mentally just like.
But also, like NBA season is 82 games.
Right.
If you're going till June, like or in the finals, it's way more than that.
Right.
So that's different than like what you play 30 games college season.
We play 25, and I mean that'll be another interesting conversation, like the 82 game season if they should shorten it. Because after 25 games, I mean I was physically dead. I was mentally just drained. So I certainly understand why players want to step away from the game. 2 months is a little bit of a long time. I don't think I could do that personally as a shooter, but
no, so that's what I'm saying. Like maybe you should take more time off because it's an 82 game schedule. But like he's like he should work on his body. He needs to be durable. He needs to stay healthy. That was the biggest thing with him. But 2 months, like So you agree that like that's too much.
It's definitely a long time. I don't know what he's doing to take care of his body. Like maybe he's rehabbing something. Maybe he's doing something else to ensure that he can stay on the court for 60 plus games. I mean load management is an interesting topic nowadays for sure. But I mean
I don't like obviously you should take time away from the game. Go to Cancun, go vacation, go wherever you want. But like 2 months is a long time. Like when you need to like your team, you're on the Los Angeles Lakers. You're the second best player on that team. Like, you need to restore that team.
Yeah, let me ask you a question.
All right.
If you were worth $200 million, would you be in the gym every day? I'm just saying. Not saying I wouldn't be, but I'm saying in AD's perspective, maybe he just doesn't love basketball.
Then that's a problem.
It might be.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I'm just saying though, he's been great. He made an amazing living for himself.
Okay, and then if you hear that as a Lakers fan or even as an NBA fan, that's a problem. Like,
sure.
And he's talented enough where he was still worth that $200 million or whatever his contract is.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of a problem if you're like even questioning that because he's not playing that long.
No, I understand.
The Lakers need to return to prominence and like it's a legitimate question if they could trade him because he's a top 10 player in the league when he's healthy.
Right.
I saw people saying like top 7. I don't not that high, but
Right.
he's top 10 player in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's that old adage that you say, like, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right?
And it's also
it'll be interesting to see what he's been doing with his body. I mean, I like to believe that he's taking care of his body and rehabbing and making sure that he's physically going to be ready.
Yeah.
I mean, as a shooter, it's kind of like riding a bike probably at this point, so I think he'll be fine.
But it's like JJ Redick was talking about his routine and Steph Curry's routine. It's like,
Right.
you guys are all-time great shooters. You became great shooters because you put thousands and thousands of hours
Right.
into it
Right.
when you were younger. And so as you progressed through your NBA career, you didn't need to go in
Yeah.
the gym immediately after season end and put all that work
Right.
into your shot because you're already a great shooter.
Right.
Like Michael Jordan wouldn't lift. He said he'd never lift weights during the offseason. Like,
Yeah.
he's Michael Jordan. Like, Anthony Davis isn't that guy. Like, he's that talented, but he's
Yeah.
not that guy where it's like
That's fair.
you need
That's
to
fair.
work on your game like that.
It's fair. Yeah.
So we're on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting topic. I mean, we'll see what I guess we'll see in October if he's
Yeah.
healthy or not.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the most important thing if he's healthy.
yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about? We didn't really touch on the finals too much, but we will more later.
Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much covers the NBA.
Wait, actually, I wanted to ask you a question about drop coverage.
Okay.
So everyone talks about like drop coverage and like pick and roll, and like obviously it's a thing with the Warriors right now, and like Steph Curry ran 45 pick and rolls and 45 in Game 4 when he dropped 43, which was the most of the playoffs, one of the most of the season, I think.
Yeah.
So he runs an insane amount of pick and rolls. So it's all about the coverage that the Celtics are playing right now. That's the big topic of conversation. Like,
Right.
But Mark Jackson, to open the broadcast last night, talked about how Al Horford was in drop coverage on one of those Steph Curry threes when he was 3 feet in front of the 3-point. Like, I think people don't understand, and I'm not saying I understand it completely, but I think people don't understand what drop coverage is. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so drop coverage is essentially just when the big drops below the screen instead of being up to touch or like blitzing and trapping them, right? So the reason that NBA players usually do it is because they don't think that the bigs can stay with the guards.
Okay.
So say Al Horford does come up, and I'll talk about what I would do to Steph, but say Al Horford does come up really up to touch or up high, the thought process is that Steph might be able to just blow right by him, right? So they drop deep into the lane and they're inviting that elbow 15 to 18 foot jump shot.
Yeah.
That's why you hear coaches like don't like those shots because they're inviting that. But against Steph, I personally would trap him every single time, make Draymond short roll, and then you're gonna live with a 2-on-1 with Draymond down the middle and then Wiggins or Otto Porter in the corner. But that's what I would do personally.
So that's the question, because like Al Horford wasn't necessarily in drop. Like when you think of drop coverage, you're like, all right, you're bringing the big back in the lane towards the basket.
Right, like if you watch like Rudy Gobert, Joel, they
Lopez
really drop and they're inviting that midi pull up.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
But like Al Horford was in front of he was 2 feet ahead of the 3-point line, but he didn't like immediately like kind of stop Steph, or it certainly wasn't a blitz at all. And so like they're calling it drop coverage, or like at least the broadcast was calling it drop coverage on Steph Curry. It's like no, like they kind of played good defense on Steph Curry.
Well, on Steph Curry, you might have to be way higher out.
That's what you're saying, blitz. Yeah.
Well, no, but even if you drop, you're saying Al was 2 feet above the 3-point line. That could still be drop if Steph is 8 feet behind the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I guess it's player dependent. If Steph's range is like that.
Yeah. Drop coverage doesn't
drop.
matter necessarily where you're on the floor. I know we were using the example of drop, them being in the middle of the lane, but if Steph can shoot 2 feet in front of half court, you're still in drop coverage even if you're above the 3-point line.
So that's I think what the confusion is. Or at least for me, it was like that's not traditional drop when you see drop coverage during regular season games. And it's different. So you're saying you would blitz Steph completely?
I mean, I think I would. You've seen, what's the Celtics coach name again?
Ime Udoka.
Udoka. I don't want to mispronounce it, but
Udoka.
You've seen him time and time again get pissed at Robert Williams and Al because they haven't stepped up. Like personally, I would rather get the ball out of Curry's hands, which they kind of did last game. He missed his threes, but
yeah, but that's what everyone they kind of were switching more on Steph. I don't think they were playing. They blitzed a little bit. But they when they blitz, like he kind of found Wiggins, found Draymond, who had a better game in the middle, which creates like a 4-on-3 opportunity.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I don't think the coverage was that different. I think it was just Game 4. Like he was hitting impossible shots. Like he was way behind the 3-point line. He had no space. He probably got fouled
on a lot of them,
a couple of those.
Yeah.
And like he was just nailing incredible shots. I don't think the coverage was that much different last night. I think it came down to like he went cold a little bit.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they adjust in Game 6, because they did, I guess, quote unquote, shut him down in Game 5, unless he just misses shots, which probably won't happen again, right?
We're not going to see that again.
So I mean, you could take a couple approaches. You can either try to shut down Steph again, or you could and let the other guys be, or you could let Steph do his thing and then shut down all the other guys. So be interesting to see kind of the Celtics approach to that.
Yeah.
So.
Any more NBA finals talk? Anything you want to talk about?
I mean, I think it's good for NBA talk.
All right. Well, I mean, how long have we gone? I don't even know. Probably like 30 minutes.
25, 30 minutes.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, we could definitely wrap it up.
All right. Should do a little outro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. So this is episode 0, right? Obviously.
Test run.
We don't, we're just putting it out there. We just had to get it started. It's one of those things you just got to do and not talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only going to get better as we go. But we're really trying to build a community of, like-minded people our age, any age really. But
if you're into basketball, if you're into like the training world, like the development world, the media world, if you're into any of that stuff, like this will be the podcast for you. And
I see kind of our vision is like we want to be that podcast where like you're driving to the beach or you got a couple hour drive to school,
down the shore.
You're turning on ReaLife Hoops because you want to hear about just our takes and kind of what's going on and yeah, we'd love any feedback, good or bad, from you guys, and we'll definitely be doing some fun things to engage with the community that we are going to build. So
and subscribe to the Danny Cooper Basketball YouTube.
Yeah, so we're going to be posting a little logistical stuff. So we're not going to be making a separate ReaLife Hoops YouTube page. We'll be posting on my Danny Cooper Basketball YouTube page. We do have a ReaLife Hoops Instagram that you guys should go follow, and probably going to make a TikTok as well where we will post clips. We are going to be asking you guys if you could put in the comments who you would, number one, what you would like us to talk about, or if you liked what we talked about.
Any questions, too, answer questions.
Any questions, and also any guests that you would like to see, because, we're open to any suggestions, and we're going to try to get, as many good guests in person as we can.
So hope you enjoyed episode 0, and episode 1 will be even better. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We got like an outro.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Peace.
See ya.